Be prepared. A few years ago, I was in a building fire. Suddenly, my heart began to pound. I could hear the fire engines roaring up the street. I knew something was wrong. Smoke began to enter my apartment unit. I didn't really know what to do. I wish I would have known about this product, the SkySaver. Check it out at skysaver.com. Your personal life-saving rappelling device. Holds up to 300 pounds, repels up to 260 feet. Tested to the highest quality standards. Check it out today. Your personal life-saving backpack. Click the link below right now. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It is Thursday, September 3rd, 2015. In today's video, you'll learn the real reason the President of the United States was in Alaska.
It is beautiful.
Climate change? Was that why the President was there? To snap a couple tweet pics of himself and watch a couple moving glaciers melt in the dead heat of the summer? Yeah, that was the reason. Sure. You know, maybe there was another reason that the President of the United States was taking a multi-million-dollar vacay in Alaska. Maybe it had nothing to do with climate change. The Wall Street Journal curiously reported yesterday, after I did yesterday's video, and said that the war with China is fast approaching, that five Chinese Navy warships just happened to be off the coast of Alaska. For the first time ever, an unprecedented move by the Chinese Navy. 5 warships. Could that have something to do with Obama's visit to this part of the United States? These 5 Chinese warships patrolling an area they've never patrolled before. At the same time, Obama curiously happens to be there. Is it possible that Barack Obama was meeting with a Chinese official? Is it possible there was a meeting occurring in secret? Is it possible that the President of the United States was in a war room over the past couple of days discussing geopolitics? Have you noticed there's been a lot of tensions lately? You notice China, in this huge mark of showmanship, had a major military parade the other day, something that they do maybe every decade, maybe. This huge parade showcasing their power and their authority over the rest of the world. Have you noticed that there's been a lot of rhetoric coming from the West and the mainstream media attacking China for the current stock market crash that's affected America, blaming them for all of our problems? Have you noticed how we've been pointing a finger at these countries for a while now, whether or not it's China and or Russia, the 2 countries, by the way, that we're going to war with in the not too distant future? So what was the real reason Barack Obama was in Alaska? Was it to take a tweet pic? Was it to just take a vacation and, make this push for climate change, and attack coal companies? Really? You see, this propaganda web is so deep. You have to dig so deep. It's not what the president says, what comes out of his mouth, that you need to be concerned with. You have to be concerned with what his agenda is, because there's constant red herrings and there's a constant smokescreen. And it's there for a reason. Again, this is politics. How do you think the elite maintain their power? You see, we have the illusion of a democracy here in the United States, although it really should be a constitutional republic. That's how it was originally founded. The whole thing's an illusion, just like the voting system is an illusion. There is no election. It's decided by the elites. Just like your freedom is an illusion, really there's peasants, all of us are peasants, and then there's an aristocracy. The whole thing's an illusion, but it's that propaganda that allows them to maintain their power. That's why they have influence over the mainstream media. That's why they have influence over the educational system. Get you grilled in, fry your brain at an early age so they control you. Notice how there's not a single institution for children, the school system. There's not a single class that teaches you how to build your own business or balance a checkbook. We never learned this when I was going to school. Or to do anything that allows you to provide for yourself. What it secures is your ability to work for them, to work for the elites, to be happy with the situation environment they created for you. Like the debt system, for example, debt slavery, mortgages and car loans and credit card debt. They say if you want to go to college, well, you can do that. You can further your education, but it's going to cost you like $500,000. courtesy of Sally Mae. Or if you're going to buy a car, you've got to get a car loan. It's a $50,000 truck. Or if you want to buy a house, it's a minimum of, $300,000 or something like that, the median price in certain states around the country, because it enslaves you. Nobody asked the question why. Why is there a debt system? Why does that truck cost $50,000? I mean, if I had to pay cash and there was no credit, what would it be worth? Why is that house worth $300,000? If I had to pay, with cash and there was no credit, would the $300,000 house be worth more like $30,000 or $50,000? Nobody answers or asks, more importantly, these questions. Because again, the whole system is built around this illusion. And it's built so the aristocracy can maintain their power and their control over you. So the real reason the President of the United States was in Alaska, I don't think it was to take a couple pictures of a moving glacier. You see, there's a build-up to war right now. China is showing its strength. And when you match ourselves to China, I mean, there's just some staggering statistics. I think something like the entire middle class of China is larger than the U.S. population. Not to mention, if you match us up man to man, there's a lot more men and women that could fight us in an upcoming war than almost any other country in the world. Staggering. They've been building up their military. In fact, it's one of the reasons why they're dredging the Spratly Islands right now. There's a lot of controversy over that. They're creating more acreage, and they're beefing up their Air Force, their Navy. One of the few things that the United States still has an edge on China, arguably technology, is also the Navy. We've got quite a few more warships than China does. But on every other level, militarily, if you look at their air power, their manpower, etc., we're basically matched evenly. Pretty scary, isn't it? It's also pretty scary that the US dollar is losing its reserve currency status. Not according to me, even though I've been harping on that and talking about it for over 5 years now. People, say it's a conspiracy theory. Now it's just reality. This is what John Kerry's telling you. He's telling it to your face that this is happening, that the US dollar will be no longer. Again, another reason we're going to war, because this plays into the economics of war. It's how the banks make their money. They finance, again, both ends of the war, just like they did during World War II. They make money on both sides. Who cares what the casualties are? Because again, it maintains the control of this aristocracy that makes up America. There's a lot of talk that September is going to be a very bad month for stocks. People are saying it could be the end. Shemitah, they're talking about things like that. That we're going to repeat the crash of 2008 and 2009 in September. These historical patterned months where the market experiences, more volatility than usual. I actually don't think any of that's going to happen. Not this year, at least. I think this builds into the 2016 election because I think our enemies want the war drums beating, if not engaging us in war, at that critical moment when we're weak, when we don't know who our president is going to be, when we don't know if it's going to be Hillary Clinton or it's going to be Trump. Actually could work in Hillary's favor. We saw this in September 11th, 2001. Nobody really cares who the president is at a time of war. There is no Republican or Democrat anymore. We just, everyone puts their flags out on their car. They just want to be protected because, again, one of the primary drivers and motivations of human nature is fear. It's why the elite use it all the time. They use the fear to program you and also to get what they want. They did this with the bank bailouts. Remember how the world was going to come to an end? Well, none of that happened, but they did steal trillions of dollars from you. Thank you very much. Fear, one of the primary motivators of human nature. Also greed. Fear and greed. They use both elements. They also use patterns. Just how the pattern that stock market crashes always occur that September and October period. They use that. Again, it's all about psychology. They use red herrings like Obama's trip to Alaska. They use those smoke screens to basically mask what's really going on behind the scenes. We're going to war. People will say it's fear-mongering. And I remember this. I always know when I'm onto something when people get really angry and irate about the things that I'm saying. People said the same thing, were very angry with me when I told them a long time ago, years ago, that Obama would strike Syria, that he would go to war with them, that he would anti-constitutionally begin airstrikes. People said it was fear-mongering, that it was never going to happen. In fact, I'll put the video, you can actually watch this. It's exactly what did happen. The President of the United States, anti-constitutionally, started taking out Syria. We've been at war and we're still at war. I did a video last year in 2014 that said Dow 18,000 and then Great Depression. That was a year ago. And what's been happening? Well, Dow hit 18,000 and now things are starting to materialize. We see increased volatility in the stock market. We see the central banks continuing to ease. Mario Drag Queen today oiled up the system on the heels of the QE programs here in the States that they say have stopped, even though they haven't, and says they're going to QE more. They're going to ease more in Europe. Again, as we build up to war. You know, you've got to pay attention. The rabbit hole digs deep. You know, we're engaged in a propaganda war right now. We're at war with Russia and China. There's propaganda coming from both sides. There's these marks of showmanship with the military parade that we just saw coming out of China, Vladimir Putin visiting. People like Edward Snowden being housed in Russia. You know, all of this plays in to these topics and these concepts. Edward Snowden, for example, very likely a double, if not a triple agent, working for both sides, and maybe somebody else we don't know about. Julian Assange plays into this. Anonymous plays into this. Although there's very real elements to these groups, to these organizations, and to these people, there's also quite a bit of evidence, for example, that links Anonymous straight to the CIA, and arguably people like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. This is how deep the rabbit hole digs. This is how convoluted and intricate this web truly is. This is modern politics. Again, it's no different from thousands of years ago. Kings and an aristocracy that makes up the United States of America today under the illusion of democracy, which doesn't exist. And now we've got an election drum beating in 2016 where it appears that Americans have a choice. Do we? You know, we fail to ask questions in America. We fail to ask why. Why is the system like this? Why is there a debt system? Why is an unelected private institution like the Federal Reserve, why do they dictate monetary and fiscal policy? Why and how can the president declare anti-constitutional wars without the approval of our branches of government? What is the president doing in Alaska? Why is all this propaganda aimed at China and Russia? You know, we saw this during World War II. Remember when we demonized our enemy? We demonized Japanese Americans and treated them like trash and sent them to internment camps anti-constitutionally. We're doing the same thing now with China and Russia because you have to demonize your enemy before war. Tear them down, break down their humanity so that they're a piece of trash and a piece of dirt right before you kill them. It's exactly what's happening now. This is the fuel to the fire that makes up the mainstream media, CNN and Fox. This illusion, again, of a democracy, even though it should be a constitutional republic. This illusion of an election. This illusion that you're free when you're not. Again, folks, all of us are in chains. You know, the country was founded with the idea of freedom. It was founded on the heels of an American Revolution where we fought to break ourselves from the rule of a king, only to go full circle right back into the same system. A very dangerous place to be. I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.